Right, welcome back to Morning Live. Yes, as I told you earlier, I'll be talking about matters environment, and with me is Matthew Ochanda, who's the director of Team Environment Kenya, and we'll be talking about the waste management crisis in the country because, as you're aware, the president the other day just declared just a single use of plastic it would be legal, and trust me, it didn't go down well with so many people, but majority of the waste, you know what happens. And the Nairobi River, as I mentioned also earlier, is one of the key places where the team has been measuring so much. Good morning, Bwana Matthew. Good morning.
To you, sir.
All right, now when you talk about Team Environment Kenya, basically it's generic that you take care of environment.
Yes.
But maybe you can tell us more about your team.
Thank you so very much. My name is Matthew Ochanda, the team leader of Team Environment Kenya, who we are the National Youth Environment and Conservation Movement.
Okay.
We are the trendsetters in conservation, on a mission to keep Kenya breathing through our various environmental activities and initiatives.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. So so far, is it a countrywide thing, or maybe you just concentrated in Nairobi?
We are spread all across the country, I should say, but the counties that we have reached out for the last 3 years successfully are 9 in our famously known as tree planting expeditions.
Okay.
In every of the counties that we have set foot in, we embarked on ambitiously 10,000 tree planting expedition, which ran from Monday through to Saturday.
Okay.
But as an awareness creation exercise and a curtain raiser in every county that we have stepped foot, we used a massive cleanup of a major city or a town or a market to bring an awareness on our activities that we are supposed to start maybe on Tuesday. And so that we have done, and therefore we have established chapters in every county that we go to. We work around with the communities, youth groups, schools and institutions. And when we leave, we leave a component of us so that we're able to be spread all across. And we walk around towns, cities and riverine to ensure that the urban rivers are cleaned or are kept away from illicit or illegal waste disposal, like it is in many cities, many towns. Yes.
Now, the other day you did a cleanup. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
We have done several, measuring on Nairobi River, which has been fairly infiltrated and polluted by industrial wastes. And the stretch that runs down the informal settlement schemes, it's a very sad and unfortunate state of affairs, but because of improper sewer or solid waste disposal systems, we have most of those households along the riverine directly disposing their waste into the river, and therefore really polluting it, not knowing that people on the farthest end of its recipients really use such for maybe irrigation. And on Saturday was the International Day of Oceans, and we did a massive cleanup of Dandora waterfalls and its environs, really commemorating and speaking about the importance of our water sources and the need to really keep them clean because they support our lives.
Now, look at the situation. The other day, you even seen in the counties of Machakos, the counties of Nairobi, some industries were closed for just disposing waste into some river. Some industries disposing waste into some rivers. But all of a sudden, they're operating once again. You know, at the end of the day, the waste disposal mechanism, backup, there's no backup. Yes, you'll close them, they'll go talk to the environmentalists or maybe someone in charge, NEMA or somebody like that, and then they'll operate once again, and the cycle continues. Now, as your team, do you think we'll ever reach a point where we'll be fighting such issues?
We have voiced our concerns over such issues, and it all starts with the licensing. I think the missing link, which we should be able to address collectively, not wanting to point fingers at the authorities or governing bodies in charge for such licensing and relicensing them is a mechanism that we have lost, which is monitoring, evaluation, and follow-up mechanisms. Those are the systems that are missing, so that we're able to have a sustainable mechanisms to have our water sources and our rivers cleansed, so that it's not about a rat race of some sort. When the agencies or governing bodies aren't watching, you do it. You just need to have, it's called taking responsibility, because we certainly have waste from all industries. And we have institutions, we have consortiums and consultants among us ourselves who are able to provide the technological requirement to have their wastewater treated before it can be released to the water. So it's the tragedy here is that they have this waste from industries. Some of it is chemical released into the water bodies, into our rivers, without not having been treated, and therefore clean, therefore not having it intoxicate or poison the aquatic life, so to speak. Yes.
Okay. Now, the other day, you heard the president's directive of single ban use of plastic, and which is kind of it elicited so many reactions in the country, and it looks like some people are saying the fight won't be achieved this time round. We saw polythene papers; they went just like that. Yeah, and then this time round we're seeing a new directive. What do you think about that?
We are certain, just like the single-use plastic bags, it has not been publicized. It's not in public domain. But as Team Environment Kenya, in all humility, I want to make this submission. We played a critical and significant role in ensuring the ban on single-use plastic is effected. We were in at least 4, if not 5 counties on that particular campaign to create awareness and to have the people and the communities in various places really be prepared. As it was then, we had voices from all quarters and people that really matter running the same industries or invested in such, and they said it's one of those great initiatives that will never live to see the light of day. But today, we no longer have the manufacturing and production of single-use plastic. And the single-use plastic bottles, for instance, somebody wrote somewhere and said, you know what, the writing is on the wall. It's just a matter of time. Certainly, we have not had proper solid waste management systems, and therefore littering has been the order of the day, unconsciously or consciously, unfortunately. And therefore, it's not one of those. We have been given graciously by the president. The directive lasts for 1 year, so June 1st next year. It's time enough for agencies and organizations and companies that package their product in such to put their house in order. 1 year is time enough so that we're able to have recyclable, reusable packaging containers, so to say. So it's neither here nor there. We have been given enough time to really have this done.
Now, packaging containers that can be recycled or biodegradable, maybe what are the alternatives? Because now when you talk about, since independence, since time immemorial, let me use that word, plastic containers have been used in so many ways.
Yes.
Like I understand, if you don't use your shower, you lose a basin.
You're right.
So what will you use? These are plastics.
Plastics, what we have not had in adequate measure, like I said, I should say again, is if we could have a proper, just like, because if we do away with plastic bottles, for instance, we have many other products whose packaging is in plastic, and they can be recycled or reused for them to be made onto some other product. So the challenge with plastic bottles or packaging, juices, or whatever, all manner of drinks, has been that we do not have adequate collecting mechanism. We have left to chokoras and a few other people to do that, and we don't have enough reprocessing plants. I should say. My colleague hopefully will join me shortly, maybe after the break. Will be able to speak to us about what we are doing in Dandora, Korogocho, and other neighborhoods where we have many youths who are looking for opportunities. And we thought about milk packaging bags or packets. Most of them are in not really polythene but plastic. We have we started an initiative called Taka Bank,
Okay.
so that waste is a resource. Whichever way you look at it, if you're able to sort waste at source,
Yeah.
you will find you have so much resource into it. And so through our massive tree planting activities, we engaged youth in Korogocho and Dandora and established a Taka Bank,
Okay.
a place where all manner of waste is brought, having been sorted, so that it's able to be segregated. What can be reused and for what purpose? Now,
Sure.
for the milk packaging papers, we are using them as our seedling sockets for planting tree seedlings in readiness for transplant in farms, in places that need reforestation.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that is one of the ways of reusing or recycling, so to speak, the polythene packaging bags that we still have and might take a while to go away.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting. Now, do you sometimes feel like the war you're trying to fight will be won someday? Of course, when you mention it's just a matter of time. You see even the culture, the Kenyan culture, whereby you drink water, then you just throw it maybe on some drainage. It's so there's some affinity with the plastic bag, plastic bottle, drainage system. When it rains, flooding and everything. Look at the culture, not the fight. What you are trying to insinuate here?
The culture that we have had is wanting. That's why as the National Youth Environment and Conservation Movement, we have tried to engage at community level. But our greatest strength and point of entry, through which we have been able to have significant measure of success, is through schools and institutions.
Okay.
It is behavioral change. It is a mind change that we are working to inculcate in our brothers and sisters at primary, secondary, and at community level. And what we are doing is what we have lacked, I should say, significantly, and by which we'll be able to do so much more, is education and awareness creation. You see that we have agencies and organizations that have the resources.
Yeah.
And all that we need is facilitation to be necessitated to do that which we ought to do.
Okay.
Awareness creation campaigns, which ought not to be occasional. Like you wait for a World Environment Day, then you have a whole lot of events and activities unnecessarily crowded into one day when you had a whole year through which you could do so much. So what we are saying to relevant agencies, this is NEMA, Ministry of Environment, Kenya Forest Service, KWS, youth are a very important resource and a very integral component to helping government and various agencies realize their goals. And therefore we have been perceived, I should say, as these people that are opportunists wanting to disrupt, so to speak.
But just let me cut you short. There's so many environmental bodies, or let me say organizations, NGOs, supported by different other maybe international bodies, local bodies. Have there been any thought maybe, or maybe has there been any thought of you guys putting your heads together for this common cause? Because as much as you have some planting trees, you guys did one of your cleanups the other day, Nairobi River, there's so much happening. Do you think it can be possible?
It is possible. Incidentally, for Team Environment Kenya, we are a consortium. We are a conglomeration of various agencies, organizations, youth groups, women groups that are environmental conscious or passionate. And therefore, we have this formation that accords anybody, any person that has time, has resources, and thinks there is need to do this or the other in the environment, really to come on board. And there is, unfortunately, everybody, we have this wanting to shine syndrome. Everybody having their own kiosk, wanting occasionally, but we, and you'll be able to confirm shortly later, we, for the last this is our 4th year, we have tried to be consistent to our cause and to our mission. We have lived to do nothing but conservation in its comprehensive, not just tree planting, solid waste management, awareness creation, and even the alternative carrier bags that a ban was spelt on it unexpectedly. The alternative carrier bag that we got, TIB Environment Kenya provided that. I got the alternative When discussed with NEMA, they took it to KEBS for testing and authentication, and we have used it for several, I think a year or two now, only to realize that Kenyans engineers that we are went ahead and really toned down on its tensile strength, that we got to have some that are as good as or as bad as the plastic that we just had banned. So it's about having quantitative checks, like are they with the quality of the alternative carrier bags that we have.
So maybe who supports you? You know, at the end of the day, you need support, because now you traverse the whole country. I'm very sure that the organization that catapults your efforts.
That's a $1 million question. We have been part of the National Planning Committee, and that this is for the 4th year now. And whoever is watching and the agencies in charge can confirm that. Working with NEMA, the Ministry of Environment, and all other agencies to plan and prepare for the World Environment Day. And the ambitious us, how, like, you know what, for you to have impact, you don't just wait for this particular day. Let's have pre and post activity, so that the beat pollution or air pollution theme is before we wait for next year, is able to continue in the next 12 months, because it is indeed a silent killer, air pollution. And so we started activities Monday. We were in Dandora, had a community conversation at Dandora Social Hall. On Tuesday we were at Strathmore having the same conversation. On Wednesday we joined the national government at RTI. On Thursday we were to have an event at Charter Hall. It had been given to us for use, but we had a challenge of resources. We're like, you know what, we can do it. So on Friday we were at Dandora Waterfalls for a whole day. We had Waziri joining up with us, Madam Veska, the CEC. We did massive cleanup of Dandora River and planted trees, and we had all that good work. On Saturday, we had a culmination of the cycling and skating for sustainable development goals, but with the theme climate change, whose one of the factors is air pollution. And we reached out to agencies and organizations from all ends, some of who were part of the National Planning Committee, for support. For support, just for drinks or whatever, support. It never came through, not even a single cent. And so what has brought us this far? And we are not relenting, we're not quitting, we're not about to give up. Our energy, our strength, our drive is increasing by the day. By what? Fueled by passion and the desire to wanting to leave a heritage for future generations.
But you see, passion is a good thing.
Yes.
It's a very good thing. But you know, you can't be passionate and hungry at the same time.
That is the point. However, neither can you harass, hustle, and get the resources that you want forcefully. And so whatever you can do is our consistency. And remaining on course, then they will realize that these guys are a force to reckon with, because without our resources, they are still doing what we are doing. And I realize, whereas you're waiting for resources, resources do not weigh. Resources have a way of following a vision, an idea that is practicable. And not otherwise.
So
you might be having
this?
Resources.
Resources might actually follow you, but who does this? Because now at the end of the day, is it a matter of maybe you guys digging deep in your own pockets?
I should say, I have a team that has been selfless and sacrificial. And my colleague, I hope will be able to join up with us.
Unfortunately, because of time,
he will be able to also reiterate what I've just said. We have had mechanism of people just bringing themselves to places of where we need to do what we need to do, transporting themselves, and we have partners that have given us seedlings, so that when you want to really plant trees, for instance, whereas you need quote-unquote resources, money, what you need basically is the places to plant, people to help in planting, and the seedlings themselves transported on site, which has been miraculously been happening in all the places. In fact, in the coming weeks, you will see, we'll be able to share with you, we are lined up series of tree planting and environmental activities across the neighboring counties, which we shall do, whether they give us the resources
or not.
It's sounding arrogant, but just it's a humble say of a determination to see change effected, so that. And it's neither here nor there. For conservation, during the national tree planting launched by the president last year, environmental conservation has become almost one of the big four, therefore becoming the fifth pillar.
Okay, interesting. Because of time, Charles Lucania won't be able to come in on set, but still, you've represented so well. But the final question I have for you, as much as I talk about the bodies you're trying to work together with, individualism has been a problem for so many people. You've mentioned people want to shine in one way or another, but maybe what can you tell us about the consistency? 4 years in, are you seeing there's hope here?
There is hope, for the simple reason that this initiative is being championed, rallied around, executed by the youth. Okay. And therefore, you can bank on us that before the inner drive runs out, you will look back and say, you know what, those guys were around and did this. And they should watch this pace. They say, I don't know if it's a philosophical sentiment or an English phrase, if you can't beat them,
just join them.
Join them.
It's not
because
a
at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's not about me, it's not about you. You see, our philosophy and mantra is about jealously, and that we'll fight to defend. The cause of nature, and we would want to leave a heritage for future generations of a cleaner, greener, peaceful, food secure and water environment of both flora, fauna and aquatic life. So if that does not resonate with you, then we will continue with our thing and hopefully give you time to consider supporting or come on board with us. Yes.
Thank you so much, Bwana Matthew Chanda. Unfortunately, because of time, Charles couldn't be able to join us. You know, sometimes we operate with the procedures and times.
Yes.
But the director said I need to move on. But thank you so much for coming. I wish you all the best, because now what you're doing is something very amazing and it takes sacrifice. Good job you're doing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So just hold it right there. And of course, we traverse the East Africa region.